This project actually came from one of your requests. And honestly, I think we're onto something. So today we're making a copper wire sun catcher that looks complicated, but is really just spirals, wraps, and a little bit of creative chaos. If you've been wanting to make a handmade piece that catches the light and makes your window look extra pretty without needing a giant pile of supplies, this is such a fun one to try. And yes, I already have two made because I've been having a few frustrating video technical issues, but I have worked them out. And seriously, keep those ideas coming. Some of my favorite projects have started from your comments. So if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in. The materials you'll need today are round nose pliers, needle nose pliers, bigger cutters. These are mini bolt cutters, something to wrap the wire around that's big, and something to wrap the wire around that's smaller, 12 gauge wire, 16 gauge wire, some beads, and a glass jar. This 12 gauge wire is approximately 1.5 meters or 51 inches. It's always better to have it a little longer, and you can always cut off the extra. Okay, with our 12 gauge copper wire, the first step, we're going to start from the bottom of the jar and work our way up. First, you need something to anchor the bottom of the jar so that it doesn't fall through, and that is where my spiral comes in. Okay, once I have the bottom spiral, I'm going to bend it like that. You can do it around the glass, you just have to be a lot more careful. If you have something of similar size, I recommend doing that. And then all you do is you take it and you wrap it around a few times. It all depends on the height of your jar. Now this was a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to back it out a bit to make these spirals just a little bit bigger. And then you test your jar, and as you test your jar, you're going to make it a little bigger, like that. And I'll show you how to lock the bottom in place. There we go, perfect. And one more. And then when you get to the bottom, this spiral right here, make sure that it's folded right across the bottom of the jar, like that. And now it is locked in place. Now, because we're going to be putting a chain going up, I want to make the top larger than the bottom. So I'm actually going to take this out, put that aside, and I am going to take the bigger container and wrap it around the bigger container. Now, before I do that, I am going to make one loop on this side, and that's so that I can add the chain to the top. Okay, there's a loop there, like that. And now I'm going to have a loop on the other side at the end. Okay, so I'm wrapping this around a bigger container, like that. And right across, I'm going to make another loop. Perfect. And I probably had this wire, you probably only needed even 1 meter, not 1.5 meters, but that's okay. Okay, these two are right across from each other, and then I'm going to finish the loop so that the circle goes all the way around. Perfect. And then I'm just going to cut off a little bit extra like that. And now we're going to test this again, putting it in, making sure it's nice and secure. And if you noticed, you need to put it back in the center, the bottle, like that. And then I am going to take the last part of the loop here and just do some sort of spiral. Perfect. And this spiral could be going downwards. There. The reason why I want the loop at the top bigger than the bottle is because you don't want the chain too close to the bottle. You want it farther away. So the chain's going to attach to this to leave some space for whatever you want to put in the bottle. Whether you want to put in even a crystal with water as a sun catcher, or you could put a candle, a low candle, plants, flowers, your favorite stones. So The chain is going to go here and work its way up. And I'll decide afterwards if I want to keep this spiral sitting out, or if in fact, I'll look at it right now. Do I want to? No, I'll wait. I might bend it down or bend it up, but I'm not sure. So this is ready and this is done. And now let's work on the chain. I'm just cutting 4 equal pieces of 12 gauge wires. And this is going to be for the S shapes or the S spirals. These ones are 16 centimeters or 6 inches. So I have 4 of those. And then for the top spiral up here, I'm going to do a longer one, probably about there. We're going to do a longer one, and this one is about 12 inches or 31 centimeters.
All right, let's make the hanging chains for this piece, because if the chains aren't close to the same length, your bottle starts leaning sideways and suddenly your elegant suncatcher looks like it survived a windstorm. Start by making your 4 spiral sections from 12 gauge copper wire. And this part is way more about technique than strength. A lot of people try to muscle the spirals, but honestly, it's mostly in the wrist movement. Small guiding motions, steady pressure, and letting the wire naturally curve. These spirals do take practice, so don't panic if your first few look a little wonky. The funny thing about wire crafting is that slightly imperfect spirals still somehow look chic and intentional. The top S spiral is intentionally larger, so it acts as a decorative statement piece and gives the entire suncatcher a more balanced, elegant look. Now let's hammer the S spirals, and this step makes such a difference. Not only does it strengthen the wire a bit, but it also gives the copper that beautiful flattened texture that catches the light way better. Now let's make the bead links. I'm using 16 gauge here because it actually fits through the holes in my beads without fighting me for 20 minutes. And speaking of beads, a lot of you ask where I find mine. Honestly, secondhand stores are amazing for this. You know those necklaces that are maybe a little busier than you'd actually wear? Perfect. Tiny treasure chest for future projects. I decided to use black and purple beads on each side because they add a nice contrast against the copper and give the whole piece a slightly moody, elegant vibe. Once both sides of the chain are assembled, place them beside each other to compare the lengths before attaching them. Next, attach the 3 beads to the bottom. These little dangles catch the sunlight beautifully and add that extra bit of movement and sparkle that makes the whole suncatcher come alive. Then connect both chains onto the bottle frame and check the balance before fully closing your loops. We're aiming for beautifully balanced hanging bottle, not leaning tower of copper. Then attach the top spiral section using small loop connectors, kind of like tiny keychain loops. This lets everything move nicely and gives the piece a softer hanging motion.
Okay, and it's done. And what would you put in here? There's so many options for things to put in. And what do you think? What would you do differently? Or would you do anything differently? It looks beautiful. What do you think? Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.